So today we're looking at several ways that you could potentially be leaving money on the table. Now, that is a phrase that I know many of us have probably heard a million times, and it's often referred to in business settings about not getting as much money from a deal as possible, but it can also apply to personal finance because even if you are good with money and you are responsible, there's always room for improvement, and you could be missing out on money without even realizing it. But before getting into my list, if you are new here, welcome. I create videos on personal finance. So if you like videos like this and you want to see more, do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. So the first way that you could potentially be leaving money on the table is by having too much in your emergency fund. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, or at least what some of you are probably thinking. The more the better. You can never have too much. And I get where you're coming from, but let me explain. Many experts will say anywhere from 3 months to 12 months as a minimum is a good starting point. Personally, I say a minimum of 6 months, even though it might take you a while to get there, just for added peace of mind. And yes, the more you tuck away, obviously the better. But it is possible to have too much in an emergency fund, and that was a concept that I didn't really grasp until recently. Many people talk about achieving financial freedom or just growing wealth in general, but what a lot of people don't realize is that if you're trying to grow wealth, a savings account alone for the average person isn't going to cut it. It's part of it and it can help you get to where you want to be, but you have to do more. So once you have enough in savings where you are confident that you are able to handle different emergencies that could pop up, it's time to step it up to the next level and start investing your money. And yes, I understand that investing, it can sound scary and intimidating, especially as a beginner, but let me assure you, it isn't. And that is something that I wish I had realized when I was younger, because there are so many different ways to make your money work for you. And a lot of these ways do not require extensive investing knowledge. And I'm not going to go into too much detail on how to start investing for beginners. I did a video on this a few months ago, which I will link above. But just to give you an overview, if you are not comfortable picking stocks, there are different ways to invest. You can invest in mutual funds, index funds, ETFs. You can also get an IRA, or you can even dabble in real estate. There are so many options available to you. And if you really need guidance, it also doesn't hurt to speak with a financial advisor, because they can really break down all the different options available to you. And once you have that knowledge, you can then go and decide which investment is the right match. And while we're on the subject of savings accounts, another way that you could potentially be leaving money on the table is by keeping too much of your money in a regular savings account. Now, regular savings accounts, those are typically accounts that we keep with the local bank. And it is smart to keep some of your cash close, especially for those immediate emergencies, because if you have a car repair, a home repair, or an unexpected bill, if you don't have access to cash, you might rely on a credit card. But while a regular savings account is convenient, it's not the best you can do with regard to earning a return, because most regular savings accounts, they earn, I think, like 0.01%, which even if you keep a lot of money in this account, that can come to just earning pennies a year in interest. And you can definitely do a lot better with an online high yield savings account. Now, I'm not suggesting take all your money out of your local bank and move it to an online high yield savings account. But what I am suggesting is maybe leaving just a little in your bank and moving the majority of your money to an online account, especially funds that you don't need right away. And the reason is because high yield savings accounts, they earn a higher rate. Now, at the moment, rates are pretty low across the board, but even so, the rate with a high yield account is going to be much higher than you will get with a regular savings account. And other reasons why I absolutely love high yield savings accounts is because a lot of these accounts, they don't have any monthly minimums, they don't have any monthly fees, and many of them don't include a debit card, which in my opinion is great because it really helps cut down on a lot of those frivolous withdrawals, which can help grow your money faster. Plus, if you have an online savings account, it can take 2 or 3 days to transfer money from that account to your brick and mortar bank. And that in itself can also help cut down on a lot of frivolous withdrawals. Another way that some people leave money on the table is not taking full advantage of the match program that their employer offers with their 401k. Employer-sponsored retirement accounts are super convenient because the money is taken directly out of your check, and as a bonus, some companies will also have a match program, which is basically free money to help grow your nest egg. And the way it works can vary from company to company, but just to give you an example, some companies might offer 100% match up to 3% of your contribution, whereas another company, they might do a 50% match up to 6%. Either way, it's free money, so you want to take full advantage of the match program if possible, because that can add tens of thousands of dollars to your retirement account over 30 or 40 years. And just to illustrate how 1% can make a huge difference, I am looking at a 401k retirement calculator. Now, if you contribute 2% of your $50,000 salary starting at age 25 and you plan to retire at age 65, assuming a 7% return and the fact that your employer will match your contribution 100% up to 3%, at age 65, you can expect to have $414,000 in your retirement account. However, if you were to increase your retirement contribution by 1% to 3%, your retirement account at age 65 jumps to $621,000. That is an increase of $200,000, and that is only with a 1% increase. Now, keep in mind, just because your employer will only match you 100% up to 3%, you can always continue to contribute more. And just to give you another example, let's say you were able to contribute 5% instead of 3%. At age 65, you will then have $828,000 in your retirement account. So it really doesn't take a lot to really benefit from your retirement program. And I totally understand that when it comes to increasing your retirement contribution, you can only do what you can do. But at the same time, I do recommend maybe challenging yourself every few years, bumping up your contribution by 1%, because there is a good chance that you might not even notice the extra money being taken from your check. Another way that you could possibly be leaving money on the table is not taking advantage of a credit card rewards program. Now, to be clear, I am not pushing the use of credit cards. Some people do not like them. They prefer debit cards and cash. That is perfectly fine. But for those who do prefer to use credit cards and they pay off their balance in full every single month, I have to throw that in there because that is so important. Using a rewards program is an excellent way to get back some of what you spend. But one thing to keep in mind as you shop around is that some of these cards do charge an annual fee, so you really have to weigh the pros and cons and consider whether the rewards program is worth it. And of course, before I move on to the next point, I have to re-emphasize, if you use the card often in order to earn the rewards, make sure you only charge what you can afford and you pay off the balance in full every single month. Another way that you can potentially be leaving money on the table is by not negotiating your salary. There was a survey taken in 2017, and according to the results, only 46% of men negotiated their salary compared to only 34% of women. But what was really interesting is that 70% of managers, they went into it expecting a negotiation. So oftentimes the salary, there is some flexibility. And oftentimes the biggest reason why people did not negotiate was because of fear, which, I can understand that, because if you're looking for a job and you find an opportunity that you feel is perfect for you, you may not want to risk losing the job, and you may reason that if another candidate doesn't negotiate, the employer is going to automatically go with them. But sometimes hiring managers, they go into this expecting some candidates to negotiate. And if you bring a lot of skill and experience, you might be surprised. But of course, you have to be reasonable. So before you make a counter offer, you have to do your research. You have to know what is the going salary for that position for someone living in your area and for someone with your level of experience. And from there, you can build your case and see what they offer. So that's all that I have for you guys today. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. And if you did, please give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, definitely consider subscribing. Here we talk a lot about personal finance, different ways that you can fix your wallet and get to a good place financially. So if you like videos like this, I do post every weekend and sometimes during the week. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in a few days.